All right, so we're going to do our coordinate plane notes. So you should be on your digital notebook for this week and post it on Google Classroom and be on Wednesday's notes. So if you need to pause the video and get those notes pulled up, please do so. Again, it's on Wednesday's notes. These notes are posted in Google Classroom. You're going to want to type them in as we go. So pause the video if needed. Okay, I hope you have your digital notebook ready to go. We're going to go through some vocabulary first, and then we'll apply the vocabulary on the next slide. So we are talking about a coordinate plane. You might have heard of this before, but I'll give you a couple refreshers. So a coordinate plane is created by two perpendicular number lines. So you have one that's horizontal and one that's vertical, and they intersect to create that coordinate plane. So it's two number lines coming together perpendicularly. So make sure you're typing that into your notes as you're watching the video. Feel free to pause as you're doing that if you need to. Then we have something called an ordered pair. This is obviously a pair of numbers used to locate a point on the coordinate plane. And what we usually do, and I'll talk more about this here in just a few moments, but the first number in that ordered pair, it's written like this. It has to have parentheses to group those numbers together. There's a comma separating the two numbers so you know which one's which. And the first number will always be what we call the x coordinate. And then the second number will always be the y coordinate. I'll talk about x and y here in just a second. But that is how you write an ordered pair. And the x is always the first number, y is always the second. So then we have something called the origin. This is the point where the two number lines meet, which is the starting point when graphing the coordinate plane. So we're always coming from the origin. Kind of like the word originate, right? It starts from something. That's what the word origin is. So the ordered pair for the origin is always going to be 0, 0. And so what that means is on the x-axis, which you're going to talk about in just a second, we have not moved on the x-axis at all, so it's 0. And then we have also not moved on the y-axis at all, which is why it's 0. So let's talk about what those axes are. So x-axis is the horizontal number line of the coordinate plane. And we'll put that on our coordinate plane here in just a second. But the x-axis is the horizontal number line, the one that goes right and left. Whereas the y-axis is the vertical number line on the coordinate plane, the one that goes up and down. And then there's something called quadrants. Quadrants are the four, right, because the word is quad, meaning four, the four sections of the coordinate plane where points are located. So those are all your vocab words. Make sure you've typed in all of your notes. If you need to pause the video, feel free to. But we're going to label these so that they make a little bit more sense. Let's label them on our coordinate plane. So on the next slide, mine will go there. There we go. We're going to label all of these vocab words on a coordinate plane so that you know what are these things, how do we use them, all that good stuff, okay? We're going to start with our axis, our x and y axis. So the x-axis, remember, is the horizontal number line. So I'm going to just label it right down here. Now, if you want to put it right on your line, like maybe something like this to remind yourself, that's fine. You can even do it over here, but this horizontal number line right here is the x-axis, and that's the first number when we're dealing with an ordered pair. So go ahead and drag, so you can drag all of your words where they go, and the x-axis, you should put it somewhere around there. Again, you can put it to the side. Then we're going to do the y-axis. That's the vertical number line. So that's going up and down. So you can put it up top if you want, or you can put it down, but it's this vertical number line up and down here. I'm going to put mine at the top. And that's our y-axis. So we have the x-axis is the right and left horizontal number line. Y-axis is the up and down vertical number line. Then the origin, we talked about this one, and we also have a dot to represent that, okay? So this dot, this origin, is going to go right where the two number lines intersect, which is 0, 0, right? We have not moved right or left on the x-axis or up or down on the y-axis. And let's go ahead and just put the word origin right above that dot so you know that's what that means, okay? All right, so let's talk about these quadrants. So we're just using the word the letter Q to represent the word quadrant. And so we have 4 quadrants. Now, here's the little bit tricky part. So when you are looking at the coordinate plane, quadrant 1 starts in the top right. So this whole section here, this entire grid, you see how it's split up into 4 sections? This entire section would be labeled quadrant 1. So I'm just going to put that up in the corner. to remind myself, that is quadrant 1. So you actually start right here in that first section, top right. And then we actually go to the left next. So the way I like to think of it is they make a C for coordinate plane. You'll see what I mean by that in a second. But quadrant 2 is labeled right here. So I start with the top right with quadrant 1, and I move to the left for quadrant 2. So now I'm going to continue around in this C shape, and quadrant 3 is this section. And again, it's the whole section. So if I look at how we go to the left on the x-axis and down, this whole chunk right here is the quadrant 3. So then our last one is right here where we go to the right and down. That would be quadrant 4. So if you look, if I start at the top here on 1 and kind of make my way around, it makes like a C for coordinate plane. That just helps remind me what order they go in. So quadrant 1's up at top right, and if I make a C, then I go 2, 3, 4 for those 4 quadrants. So make sure you're dragging and labeling these. Again, pause the video if you need to, if I'm going too fast. The last thing we're going to do is plot some points, because that's really the whole point of a coordinate plane, is to be able to plot points on it. So we're going to do point A first. Point A has a positive x, so it's a number 3 in x. Remember, x is always that first number when we talk about ordered pairs. So what that means is I'm either going to be moving right or left first, always right or left first, then up or down. So this is the x-axis. The first number is x, which is 3. So that means I'm going to start by moving my dot 1, 2, 3 to the right. Okay, because it's a positive 3. And we know that positive numbers go to the right on the number line if we have 0 in the middle here. And negative numbers go to the left. Okay. And I'm starting at the origin, because remember, that's our starting point. So I'm starting here, and I know that the 3 means positive, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. But if you look, I'm going to pause for a second. Negative 5 is the next number, so that's the y. So that means, am I going to go up or down? Well, we know that negative numbers go down from 0, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, and that is where point A ends up being. I'm going to have my dot and label just like our number lines. So I went to the right 3 because that was my x coordinate, and then I went down 5 because the y coordinate was negative 5, so negative tells us down. Okay, let's try point B. Point B says negative 4, which is our x coordinate. So that means since it's negative, negative would be going to the left of 0, left on our number line, because that is what our x is. It's either right or left. So I'm going to go left 4 because it's negative 4, and I'm always starting at the origin. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I got to know, well, where is my y coordinate going to take us? So the y coordinate is negative 2, so that negative is telling me to go down because it's the y. So I'm going to go down 2, and I land right there. That's where our point is for point B, so I put a label for it. Last one, and if you want to try pausing the video and trying it on your own and then check and see what we got, feel free to do that. But otherwise, if you want to do it with me, point C has a positive 6. Remember, with the first number, it's always either right or left because it's the x for the x-axis. So the 6 positive tells me I'm going to go to the right. So starting at the origin always. Then we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I went 6 to the right, but now I got to look at my y-axis to see, am I going up or down, or maybe I'm staying. So 4 is telling me to go up. It's a positive number, so we're going to go up this time, and we're going to go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's where point C lands at 6, 4. That's the ordered pair for C. Okay, so you're going to practice this, and again, if you need to pause the video and get your notes taken care of, feel free to do that. Drag everything where it should go. But your practice today is going to be some IXL, and you get to choose on this one. You get to either choose x.2 or x.3. Some of them are talking about being able to plot points on a coordinate plane. The other one is talking about the quadrants, so think about which one you'd like to work on. You can do both if you want, but you need to pick one of those to do, and they're both in 6th grade, so make sure you're in 6th grade. You either need to do that to a score of 80 or for 10 minutes, whichever comes first, and you're picking which one to do. Make sure you're logging in through Clever. Remember, we can't see your work unless you log in through Clever. Let us know if you need help with that. And don't forget about Extra Math. So make sure you get that work done. If you need to go back and take a look at something, feel free, but otherwise, good luck on your practice.